targeted are India, EU, US, Japan, so many markets. So it's not going to remain just one market anymore. And now COVID, thanks to all COVID, it has now changed the timelines itself for clinical research. And the buzzword is speed with quality, which is now the new mantra. And if you look at some of the statistics today, India's clinical research market is going to hit $3.15 billion by 2030. And this was a survey conducted by Frost and Sullivan, who are some of the leading data collectors in India. And 82% of clinical research organizations now demand digital familiarity. And this is as per Deloitte survey. Deloitte conducts these surveys pretty often, and this is based on that. And while we are talking of all this, when we say digital familiarity, what is it that employers want now? So let's divide it by roles. Let's first look at what a clinical research associate does. So some of the skills which are evolving are risk-based monitoring, site remote enablement, and new expectations added to that is the CRA should be familiar with tools like Medidata, Viva, and things like that. Let us look at a pharmacovigilance scientist. And some of the evolving skills for a PV scientist is signal detection dashboards, which is very important for a PV person to know. Of course, automation audits. What does it mean? I'll get back to you later. And the new expectations added to it in today's world are tools like Oracle, Argus, Empirica, and some of them. And let's look at clinical data managers. What do they have to do? Is real-time data capture, of course. We all know that, right? And visualization of how a dashboard needs to look like. To that, now they've added EDC plus R, Python, Power BI. All these are going to be very powerful tools for a data management person. Then let us look at someone like a medical writer. The evolving skills were plain language summaries, PLSs they are called, global templates, that is going to be part of it because you don't know where your client is, how many officers they have. And now that we know trials have globalized, it can come from anywhere. So global templates, and what they're adding to that as new expectations is EMA-based summaries, GenAI post-edits. You should know how to edit a document that is written by GenAI. So these are some things that are coming in. And let's look at what a regulatory person, what they might be looking forward to in today's technology. So we have some things that are evolving like parallel filings and evolving country requirements. Now, let's say you're going to help work with a company who's going to submit their trials to FDA. So FDA's requirements can change. If it comes to EMEA, their requirements can change. So it has to be an evolving country requirement. Now, with the current scenario that's happening with FDA in the United States, some of them may want to file their drugs approval from the European branches. Same trials can be used for European findings. It might go to the EMEA. So their requirements might change. So this is something like the evolving country requirements that we are looking at. And to that is added new expectations of knowledge of ECTD 4.0, that's the latest, IDMP. So things are evolving every day. So if I learn something about, let's say, evolving country requirements today, and if I don't know about ECTD and other things, I might be lagging behind. So every day, skills are shifting, and we need to be on top of it. So think about it this way. Are you being trained for the past, present, or future? Ask this question for yourself. So while we are talking about this, I can give you a few case studies I read about where there were some real world transformations because of upskilling. So one of the cases that I had recently read was someone who was a clinical research associate who developed themselves into be digital trial leads, or what do they call in layman terms, a decentralized trials hero, right? So the story of this was the clinical research associate was from a mid-sized CRO working on traditional site visits, going to hospitals, collecting data, and those were the source data verification, verify those data that they sourced. Now, post-COVID, sponsors started demanding remote monitoring because obviously site visits were not possible, right? So they started demanding remote monitoring and they started asking for e-consent tracking and risk-based site prioritization. So a lot of things changed. So what did the CRA do? They enrolled themselves in weekend courses via Coursera for courses like risk-based monitoring for clinical trials, digital health trials with Viva Vault and Medidata Rave. And they started practicing building the site risk profiles using dummy trial data that they had from a data management friend, from another organization. Or it can be a dummy data that they took from anything because that's confidential. And what happened was they became a go-to person for pilot hybrid trial design. So the company that they were in started doing hybrid trial design, and the person they went to was for this person who was just a CRA, because they had transformed themselves. And what was the outcome? Within 6 months, this person was promoted to a digital trial monitor from a CRA, which is like a couple of steps above them. And they started handling a portfolio of fully decentralized oncology trials across APAC. And this person started using Medidata Detect and Clue Points for RBM. And because of this, they had a very improved protocol deviation reporting, close to 23% with proactive analytics. This was a really good thing to have. And what is the data drop that they saw? 67% of global CROs now say that they are investing in RBM and decentralized trial training for CRAs. And the trials using RBM saw 20 to 30% faster site closeout and fewer audit findings, which will actually speed up the approval of a drug, as you all are aware. So what she did was she didn't wait for her job to evolve. She evolved before the job actually did. So she was way ahead of time. Let's also look at another case study. This time I'm going to talk to you about a pharmacovigilance professional who became an AI signal analyst. So this PV associate was buried completely in ICSR data entry, day in, day out, 300 plus cases per month. Felt really burned out and was frustrated. Didn't know, how am I going to get out of this job? Done doing this. Really felt very stuck with the job. Then they started seeking coaching, and then a mentor casually asked, have you ever explored visual signal detection? Now, this was very interesting. This person had not heard about it. So what he did was he started researching about what visual signal detection is all about. And what action they took after learning was took internal learning management system course internally in their organization on Oracle Argus and ClickSense dashboards. Taught themselves on how to initiate a side project along with the work they are doing to visualize case trends across a single compound. And while doing this, they discovered a potential issue with off-label used timing patterns and flagged it. This resulted in them getting invited to safety strategy reviews with the European client. All they were doing was PV monitor entering case studies, but their things started changing. Now they were being invited to safety strategy reviews, and they were promoted to signal management lead within a year of upskilling themselves to this. And thereby, this reduced ICSR case handling load by 40% using automation and dashboards. And they also implemented threshold alerting via Empirica signaling. With this, WHO and FDA encourage PV teams to adopt AI-assisted signal detection, and hopefully by 2026, this should start happening in most of the organization. And there was a new trend in PV jobs. Job postings with data analytics as a keyword started rising 92% in 2024. You can take a look at LinkedIn hiring trends from Pharma India. Somebody has something to say? I'm hearing some disturbance. Hello?
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry for that. Student.
Oh, sorry. That's fine. So like I was saying, she went from becoming a case processor to pattern recognizer for the drug and really became indispensable. Now, what happens when you become indispensable? Whatever the state is the market, you don't lose your job because you are very key to that project or the company. Let's take a look at another case study from a medical writer to a strategy contributor. This medical writer worked in a regulatory medical writing team, mostly handling PSURs or periodic safety update reports and CSRs. I'm sure all of you are familiar with these because these are basics of a medical writing document. And these are very slow, repetitive, and heavy QC cycles. You write once and for QC, they update, they send it back to you. You again write, you send it back to them for QC because it's a cycle which keeps going on till you get the perfect report based on what the source is providing. So what was the action taken? This person started experimenting with ChatGPT and Microsoft BioGPT to actually generate draft text for benefit risk sections. So some of the most complicated in that document is a benefit risk section. So this person also learned prompt engineering and a QA workflow for Gen AI outputs. This was not something that people did in a regular job. So they went out of their way to learn this. They also studied the EMEA lay summary guidance to train Gen AI on lay summaries, because lay summaries are newer kind of documents which is evolving just now. So I'm sure Gen AI is not familiar with it. And this person learned prompt engineering to train Gen AI itself on how to write a lay summary. The outcome for this learning was this person developed SOP for internal Gen AI assisted writing processes and became part of the editorial strategy task force for 2025. And this contribution of theirs helped reduce writing by itself, and the turnaround time increased by 40% for that particular kind of a writing document. And they also started getting consultations on AI integration across 3 different functions, which was medical writing, regulatory operations, and pharmacovigilance. Now, what is happening with all this? 1 in every 3 pharma companies are piloting Gen AI tools in medical writing functions. And this is a report by McKinsey for 2025. WHO and EMEA both issued statements supporting AI assisted narrative drafting under the human QA oversight. And this report came out in 2024. And if you noticed here, AI didn't replace any of their jobs, it evolved their jobs. And they were the one who wrote the new job description for their companies, because that was something new they were also doing within their organization, and just got going up and up in their career after that. And we don't call them lucky. They just said yes to learning outside the 9 to 5 routine, outside their classrooms and outside their jobs. And they were bold enough to ask questions which no one else was asking. This turned fiction into fuel for them. Similarly, as students, you're all right now in the perfect place to do the same. I'm sure your institute gives you the runway to do all this, but it's your time to build the rocket on that runway. An institute can give you a runway, can give you the basics, it can teach you what you need to do in the job market, but it's your time to build around it and build the rocket and understand what is that the industry wants. What can I do beyond? And do some research on it. People are not going to hold your hand anymore and teach you things, right? So the first thing you need to do is become the learning athlete. Shift your mindset from I have learned enough to saying I am a learning athlete. What are some of the learnings that you can keep is you should be really solid in your GCP, good clinical practices, ICH guidelines, very important. It's a basis for any CRO, any clinical trial across the world, any medical writing document. And you need to really practice an ethical practice of knowledge, practical knowledge, very important for you to have. Continue that. I'm sure you've already been taught that. But what you can add about that as a layer is have some domain knowledge plus digital skills. For example, combine your regulatory knowledge with ECTD tools, understand what is going on there. If Viva is the one, learn Viva. It's an expensive tool, but find out where I can learn that. And you really, really need to work on your soft skills like stakeholder management, project documentation, cross-cultural writing. What do all these words mean? Check it out. Cross-cultural writing especially is very important because we work across geographies now. Work from home and COVID have reduced the boundaries for geographies. People sitting in India work for the US. It's true of any service, not just clinical research. So cross-cultural writing and culture is very, very important. So don't tell yourself, I'm just a fresher. I will learn once I get a job. I will learn on the job. Company will teach me. No company has the luxury of time anymore to sit and teach a fresher like that. They would love having freshers who really are go-getters, have a little more knowledge about what's happening in AI, Gen AI, and they would really like to hire such people. So why don't you ask your current teachers for real project exposure if that's possible, or some data that you can practice on, and use that genuinely to practice what you have learned. Join online writing clubs, debate societies, because come what may, whether you like it or not, communication is honestly good. You've got to address people, you've got to talk to clients. And I see in our own organization, sometimes it's a huge challenge to make people talk to clients because their English might be bad, their confidence might be bad, they're unable to communicate to people. That becomes a real problem. And take on some shadow roles. Ask your mentors, if you can observe or contribute to research work. Find out people in organizations whom you can reach out to and join as an intern and say, can I just watch what you're doing? I don't really want to do anything. I just want to learn from you. There are so many people out there who agree to become your mentors. So grow your network on LinkedIn. Show what you can do and seek out people who can, take you on as a mentor. And one thing that you can all aim towards is one micro certification every 3 months. Look in Coursera, look in Udemy, in your field, find out what is that one micro certification that you can do. And make it a point to have one LinkedIn post every 2 weeks, even students. Have a LinkedIn presence, post one article because that is your own personal technical paper. Whatever you have written, and technical or professional, magazine or paper might not publish what you're writing, but this LinkedIn post is yours. You can write whatever research you have done, whatever it is you want to share, as long as it's authentic and genuine. Please post. Create a peer learning group among yourselves. Call it safety fluids, whatever it is that you want to call and discuss. If not from your own institute, other institutes across the world, clinical research, there are so many such groups on LinkedIn. Look for it and become a part. Okay, so before I go further, any questions? I don't want to be the only one talking. And I would appreciate if people can switch on their videos. It'll be nice to see people.
Students, try to turn on your cameras and please feel free to ask questions.
Yes. I hope I've not bored any of you.
No, 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 no. Yeah, they're turning on.
Hello. Hello, I'm audible, madam. Good evening.
Good evening, Ningesh. Tell me.
Yes, ma'am. As you said, regarding writing,
Your voice is breaking, Ningesh. I'm not able to
yeah,
understand.
out on the bus.
You can put the
Uh,
question on chat if you're
uh,
not able to ask.
Evening, ma'am. Ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Good
Uh,
evening.
yeah, ma'am, I am Mohammed Saifullah, and ma'am, I want to say, like, I'm not from a pharma background, B Farm or M Farm. I'm a biotechnology student. I did my BSc with it. So, like, currently I'm pursuing this ADCR course with CLRI. I mean, Advanced Diploma in Clinical Research. So, I wanted to ask you, like, how how may I present to the, employers that I am also a fit candidate to, step into the clinical domain? And I mean, if you could, give me some insights of how I can, transform my career from biotechnology into the clinical domain.
So let me tell you something, Saifullah. No company will ask you what is your background. They will ask you technical questions on what you have understood in the domain. Let it be a IT industry, let it be anything. You don't have to really be a person. I'm sure you know that clinical data management, it's a kind of field where many of people who work in that are from even commerce background. So then they can deliver and learn and grow. I don't see why a person with a biotechnology background cannot do this. It's all the way you present, the way you've earned knowledge, and how you answer in the interviews. And once you join, how fast are you going to learn to scale up and deliver what the company is expecting from you? Can you prove yourself to the interviewer that you can do this? Are you confident? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, ma'am, it was, both satisfied and like it was also motivating. Like I didn't know that people from commerce background also do, in CD.
Absolutely. There are so many people like that. You go and look at any company, people from pharma background will only be around 20 to 30%. The rest are all from other diverse backgrounds who are there. Biotechnology, bioengineering, biomedical, so many different things. So what exactly, I got a question here. Any specific AI generative courses for content analysts? What kind of content analysis are we looking at here? Because there are different kind of content analysis that we are.
Ma'am, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. I was saying content analysts can be anybody from whichever. Okay, you are looking at life science and healthcare. Fine. So there is prompt engineering course even for, I mean, it's a general course. It doesn't relate to specifically biotechnology or anything. This is a prompt engineering for ChatGPT where they teach you how to ask ChatGPT questions about your own industry. Okay. So I think that is one very, very good course which covers most of the things that you're looking at. And prompt engineering is a generative AI course. So let me do some research and send Vamshi some of the courses that you guys can take a look. You can talk to Vamshi and I will definitely make sure I send it to you.
Sure, ma'am, I will forward it to
There
the
are certain
students.
courses like AI for life science professionals, which covers in AI in healthcare specialization. You can find it on Coursera. It's from Stanford University. And in that, they cover modules on LLP, emergency health records. NLP is not neuro-linguistic programming. It's all about programming. There is AI for clinical trial analysis. There is AI for ethical considerations. And then you have generative AI in drug discovery and development, which is from a site called Future Learn, I think. This is offered by some society, and I don't seem to remember. I will send it. And they actually have it is relevant to real world use cases, RWE, it's called. And it's also relevant to molecular design, regulatory document preparation, trial reporting, so many other things. So that course can also be done. There is also one course called AI in Biomedical Science. This is offered by edX from the University of Manchester. And this actually introduces Gen AI and also gives you information and relevance to predictive models in pharma data, which is relevant for content QC. And this is really great for analysts who want to bridge biology and Gen AI without actually going deep into coding. So that will really help you. And you can also do a course in natural language processing in healthcare. This is given free by Stanford. And you can also get this free on YouTube or Coursera. It's a free course. Most of the things that I'm saying doesn't cost you much. This has to be added on to the course that you're doing right now. Okay, and the relevance to this course, it covers extracting info from EMRs, AE reports, trial reports. So some of these things like that. The rest of them I will definitely send to Vamshi and you can take it from it. Vamshi, please help me by circulating it later.
Sure, ma'am, I will share it with the students.
Thank you.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, the courses you told just now, it can be done from any background, or is there any?
If you can understand Gen AI, anyone can do it, Ramya. Okay, if you are interested in clinical research, which is why you're in the course that you're doing with this institute, I think then you should be able to do that course. You will be able to understand it. So as a clinical research
Okay.
student, what are the courses we should learn for a student who is not from technical background? When you say technical background, Nobita, what do you mean? I think you're already doing a good course. What else are you looking at? Do some of the courses I already mentioned, in Gen AI, because whatever you do technically in this institute, knowing about AI and how it works in this clinical research industry will really help you. And like I said, some of the courses that you can do if you're not from a technical background like biotechnology or pharma is learning about clinical data management. That's a good course to be in. It's one of the key. So I don't know. Can one of you please tell me what is the life cycle of the clinical trial process in a, CRO? Familiar with it? Anybody, please. Let's not make it one-sided. Let us see how much of knowledge we both can share with each other. Come on, please help me with it. There are 103 people in the call, 102 leaving me out. Somebody should be able to answer that. What
Ma'am,
are the
4
life
phases,
cycles?
ma'am.
Yes, Neha.
4 phases are there, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Initial, yes, ma'am. First, after preclinical, ma'am, initial first phase is for efficiency, ma'am. And the
I'm
second
not
phase is
asking
for the,
about that. Not Sneha. What you were saying is
okay.
absolutely right. I'm saying, let's
Yeah.
say when a sponsor comes to a clinical research organization with their raw data, what is the cycle that
Yes,
is
ma'am.
taken through before it reaches submission to a regulatory body? Familiar with that?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Nobody is familiar with that?
ma'am, I know the answer, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
The
Please honor
Ma'am,
us.
sponsor and the investigator both will verify the raw data, ma'am, before initiation of the study.
actually, once the sponsor plans to do the study on a particular product, first and foremost is the preclinical research studies, ma'am, which is the reason or the main purpose of this preclinical research is to evaluate the safety and biological activity, ma'am. And after this preclinical research, then comes the clinical trial planning, ma'am, and the protocol development, like how to do the or conduct the study, how the informed consent forms should be prepared, and according to the study which they are focusing on a particular product, based on that requirements, this clinical trial planning should be done, ma'am. And after preparing all these documents, an ethical approval should be received, to which we have to submit all these documents for the review. After that, we should get the regulatory approval, ma'am. So for this regulatory approval, we will try to submit documents like clinical trial application, for informed consent form, protocol, investigation brochure, planning of the clinical trials, and then comes the clinical trial phases, ma'am, where the actual drug is going to be investigated in different set of peoples, like phase 1 where the participants is very low, which is mainly evaluated to understand safety and dosage of the drug, and it is done usually in healthy volunteers. And in the next phase we will study about the efficacy and side effects, ma'am.
Okay.
Effectiveness, and will also help us to evaluate at what maximum strength a drug can be tolerated by a patient. And in
Okay.
phase 3 we will be studying in a large population to know the efficacy in a larger population, and want to know about it in a disease specific patients. Coming to the phase 4, we will be studying about post marketing surveillance. So we will be studying the long term effects, and we will see what are the rare side effects which were not observed during the first 3 phases of clinical trial, and we will see the real world effectiveness, ma'am. Next, then we will go for the site selection and initiation, where we will give the investigator or a principal investigator who works and do the clinical trials in a specific or a qualified clinical trials, ma'am.
So, Monica, thank you so much. You're explaining the life cycle of a clinical trial. My question to you was, what happens to the data once the sponsor sends it to the contract research organization? Because the question here is about what are the career options that is there for someone who passes out of this kind of a course. So that is where my question is. You're absolutely right about the clinical trial phases. Fantastic. But do you know the answer to what happens to the data? How does that get converted? Because That life cycle is where that will get you a job in one of the life cycles. That is why I'm asking that question.
Hi, ma'am.
Okay, regarding the data, ma'am.
First of all, you have to collect the raw data.
Okay.
After that, you have to step the data in a process. After that, how to analyze, and after that, you have to report the data to the
You said it
organization.
so fast, but what is it? How do you actually analyze it? How do you actually collect the raw data? How do you actually present it? That's the whole life cycle I'm talking about. But you are there, Madhuri. Want to try some more? Please tell me.
How to collect the raw data from the participants, how it be the drug is affecting, how the drug is acting on the participants, how they are reacting, what are the source, what is the outcome, how to collect the raw data from the site. After that, how to step the data in the process, how the right drug.
Okay. So let me give a little brief on what exactly it is, and let me tell you in as much of a layman terms as you guys can understand. So what exactly happened? Hello?
You are asking me the different steps involved in finalizing the data once we receive from the patients?
Not from the patients, from the sponsor company. The sponsor company does the trial and collects all the different data from patients. And now what they want to do is, now that they have collected, how do they put it into an organized way to submit it to the regulatory body to get approval?
Ma'am, there is a role of clinical data management who does to make the data, who converts data like unorganized data to the organized data with the help of electronic data captures like Viva Vault, Medirave data, and after that, after making it into a structure form, so they made they made that data presentable just like just like to the just like with the ethical considerations.
Got it. So how do we can present it or let the people who don't know understand about it is very simple. Okay, so how do I put it for you? Let's take a step-by-step approach to this. Okay, so imagine a sponsor. Basically, a sponsor means a pharma company who wants to come out with this drug. They finish a clinical trial and send all the data that they have collected, like patient reports, test results, side effects, everything that you both said, to a CRO. CRO is a clinical research organization or a company that I work for. It's called a CRO. There are many CROs for us. Now, let's break it down step by step. What happens? So what do we need to do when you get the data? First, you have to check if the data makes sense. So what do these do? The data management team comes into the picture here. And think of it like you've been asked to cook a meal. So if you have to cook a meal, is everything in the ingredients there for me to make sure that I deliver the recipe that you're asking me for, right? So the CRO first checks it out. Are all the files there? Are there any missing information here? Names, numbers, reports, are they all correct, right? So if something is missing or weird, they go back to the sponsor and ask, hey sponsor, look, this doesn't look right. Can you please fix it? And the goal is to make sure everything is clean, complete, and ready to work with. So to make sure that all the information collected during a clinical trial is accurate, complete, and clean, what they do is they have to get back to the client to make sure every single data that they have is available there. So first stage that you can say for data management is planning stage. What kind of data are we collecting? So before even the trial begins, now the data management team works with the doctors and the sponsor to decide what questions can we ask the patients, what tests are being done, what answers are important to collect to arrive at the kind of drug that we are looking at. So like she just said, they design a tool called an ECRF or an electronic case report form. It's like a smart online form where trial sites, like hospitals, clinics, all will enter their patient data. So earlier what they used to do is it used to be in forms written. Post-COVID, ECRF has become more common and everything is written online. So easier access for anybody who's working on the project across the world. So for example, if the study is about a diabetes drug, right, the form might ask questions like, what are your blood sugar levels now? What are your side effects? What are the medications you're taking? What are the lab results, etc., etc. So this DM will act like a Google form designer, right? Next comes second stage, data collection. So that would be, let's receive all the information from the hospitals. So once the trial begins, each patient result results in data being entered into the ECRM. Now, this could be any metadata, right? Like blood pressure reading, test results, side effect, race of the patient. Some of the drugs do matter for which race you are from, right? So that comes into the picture. What is your age? What is your ethnic? Lot of things comes into the picture here. So the CRO's data management team monitors this data live as it comes, kind of like real-time tracking. But sometimes what happens is they are not involved at that stage. They only get it after the complete trial is over and the sponsor has already collected the results. At that time, what they do is they clean up the data. That is where I started off with. If you remember, something looks off, let's fix it. So this becomes the heart of data management. And sometimes the trial site, obviously, not very obvious, has a chance that they might make a mistake. So instead of entering a patient's weight as 450, they might enter it as 450 kg instead of 45 kg. And they might skip a required field by accident. They might type in a wrong date on the day that they have given the drug. So many things can happen. So the DM team catches all these through data validation checks and think of them like automatic red flags or alerts for them. They then raise queries to the client. Of course, can you please check this? And they get back the answer. So then comes stage 4, which is reconciliation. They want to cross-check across sources. So they compare the lab data versus what was entered manually, adverse events versus safety reports, concomitant medications versus medical history. And again, if something is not matching, they go back to the drawing board, they raise a query with the client, get it fixed. So, for example, if a patient was hospitalized for dizziness, but no side effect recorded, well, that's a gap, right? DM needs to know why was he hospitalized for dizziness, but there was no side effect. So these are things they want to capture. Now, the fifth one is coding the data. So they want to standardize this because each one would have entered it in a different way, right? So it has to look standard. So what they do for every condition like fever or nausea or something, the data needs to be labeled using a standard format for which they refer to medical dictionaries like MEDRA or WUDRA, right? It is very standardized for all clinical trials. Only the word that's used there will be entered by the data management folks. Why? Like I explained, because global authorities can interpret it across the same way. Regardless of who entered it, how they entered it, it has to be entered so they will understand. For example, if there's stomach pain or abdominal discomfort, it should be coded to the same medical term so it doesn't get counted twice or misread by somebody else. So what DM does is it creates tools to do this automatically and then reviews anything that looks weird. Finally, what they do is they lock the database. There can't be any changes done to that after that. No more edits. That's it. So once all the queries are resolved, everything looks clean and all checks are done, the database is locked. No one can change anything after this. It's like, submitting your exam sheet after the time is up. They will not ask you, okay, you missed that, please come and write. They will not ask you, right? It's the same. And that's a big deal because analysis happens only after the database lock, right? So then they move to archiving and audit readiness. So DM ensure that everything is documented, queries were raised, and they document who resolved it, who raised it, what version of data was final, everything. Because this is very crucial in case there's a government audit or inspection by FDA. So then what happens is they move to the next stage, which is called, let's find out what the data is saying. There comes to the picture, the biostatisticians. Now that the data looks good, math experts come in. They analyze all the research to find patterns within the trials. Did the drug actually work? How many people got better? Were there any common side effects across all the patients, So the goal is basically to use statistics to turn raw numbers into clear answers. So then they move into the statistical programming team who actually program tables, listings, and graphs and a lot of other such things for the next person who's the medical writer to understand it legibly, to actually put it in a writing format. Because all this data comes in very raw data format. You're not able to understand, right? So they develop table listings and graphs. For that, you need to know SAS programming. And most of the people working there are engineers, MBAs who come from different backgrounds. So I think I answered one of your questions where it said you don't need a technical background. Technical background in the sense life science. You can have engineering, still understand the data because you are not per se analyzing. You're only developing something so that numbers can go in and it gets generated, right? So then comes medical writing where they assume all this or let's say they want to write the story of what's happening. So everything has to be written in a way that's clear, structured and approved by the regulators. So that is where they start writing a clinical study report. This CSR contains everything: why the drug is being developed, what are the symptoms for which it is being developed, what might be the possible causes, side effects that they are looking at, what is the composition of the drug. Every single thing is part of this clinical study report. It's like a final school project, but 300 pages long. So they also write summaries for the public in simple language, which I told you about. It's called lay summaries. Because let's say I am someone from a management background. If I have to take a look at it, how do I understand what this drug is all about? Basically, it's called lay summaries. This is where I go and check out. And there is something called the transparency, which has come in newly now, where there is a trial registry that you can go take a look at. It's on a public domain. So let's say in my family, there's somebody suffering from some critical illness, right? So when you go into this trial registry online and check out, there will be a lot of such trials going on. I may choose one which I think might help to solve the problem, the health of somebody who is critical, and I go and register them. That's why it's called a clinical trial registry. That's a different department now, apart from medical writing, which is existing. And the medical writing team's goal is to turn all the technical stuff into a report that doctors, regulators, and sometimes even patients can understand. So then comes pharmacovigilance and medical review. They look at all the different patient experiences that was written there, which is actually called writing narratives. So they look at things like if someone felt dizzy, if someone got a rash, or someone had serious issues. There are detailed reports about this, which I said is called narratives. Now, they also try to spot any patterns that might be a red flag, which is what a medical reviewer does. For this, you need to be someone from a medical background to be able to diagnose if that was a problem because of the drug. And the goal here at this stage is to make sure the drug is safe and nothing was missed, and they ensure that every single thing is captured. Last comes the regulatory operations team, where they help prepare it for submission. So think of this as putting all the documents into one folder and packing it correctly and putting it for shipping. They format everything to match what global health authorities like FDA or EMA want. They attach all the links to the different sources. So if the FDA is looking, then it needs to press the link. It goes to that particular source document to verify. So 300-page document is sorted, formatted, everything. Then they submit it officially. Final goal here is to send the report to the government for review and approval. Then comes quality. Once all is done, in the middle, there are a lot of quality checks to ensure that they've taken the right source, they've used the right number of percentage for the chemicals, everything. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell is, after a clinical trial is done, a CRO acts like the editor, fact checker, safety officer, and publisher all rolled into one. They clean up the data, analyze it, double check it for safety, write reports, package it for the government to review. They're actually complete package. So now you can understand how many different kinds of careers can actually exist within a clinical research organization, right? If somebody wants to tell me what all kind of careers, I will then let you know what are the different qualifications, who is it for, everything. I will now ask one of you to please let me know, what do you think are the different careers? This was to ask, somebody had a question for me, what kind of careers are there? So that's what I'm trying to answer.
For the clinical research course, ma'am, I mean, we can work
CR.
as
CR, all the different stages I spoke about now. Clinical research post is different, Ramya. In the clinical research, if you are a CRO, you're working only for clinical trials. You're working in hospitals, collecting data and doing things like that. CRO position is different from a CRA. So you
yes,
need to know the difference. Medical coding is part of something that I mentioned to you earlier. It is called medical coding now comes at the end where you're doing medical review. If there's something called adverse events, now let me say I'm on a clinical trial, I take a particular drug and my kidney fails. Okay, for example, that kidney failing is an adverse event. If it leads to death, it is a serious adverse event. So then medical coding comes into the picture where they code that particular instance, say, link it to the drug and say, because of this, this happened. Clear, Pavani?
Ma'am, we'll be having medical writer also, protocol reviewer, clinical associate.
My question was, what do you think are the qualifications you need to be there? Okay. Since we are lacking time, let me say if there's a data entry associate or an ECRF encoder actually enters clinical trial data into systems that has been created by a data management person. The qualification can be bachelor's in life science or pharmacy to understand the data. And anybody can apply, fresher level, entry point, at the lateral level, somebody from a different field can enter into this field. A clinical data coordinator or associate, they actually manage data flow, they resolve queries, they coordinate between sites and teams. And basically the qualification can be BSc, B Pharma, BDS, Ayurveda, physiotherapy, MSc in life science, anyone who's detail oriented and has basic Excel plus good communication skills. Clinical data manager can be someone who oversees all data management activities, database design, query logic, coding, QC, anything. They oversee all this. Usually it's a master's or bachelor's in life science, 2 to 4 years experience, or master's or bachelor's in any field with interest in life science, keen eye for learning detail, and a little bit knowledge about the domain. So if you're analytical and organized, basically that's all you need to be a clinical data manager. Data validation programmer or quality reviewer, they actually build automated checks, they review data, they run validation programs, usually in SAS, R tools. So it can be anybody with an engineering degree or an MSc in statistics, mathematics, and even a bioinformatics engineer. Anybody can be part of this. It's a very well paid profession, by the way. There's a lot of demand for SAS programmers, and starting salary itself starts off at around 4 or 5. And by the time they reach 3 years, they would have already crossed 10 to 12 lakhs. It's great but you need to have great aptitude for coding. It's great for coders or those from math or stat backgrounds. It's a fantastic field to be in. And I don't know if you've heard of this, biostatisticians are very, very less in India. They draw huge salaries, and basically qualifications are like MSc biostatistics, PhD in biostatistics, and things like that. And of course, a great love for numbers in clinical research, right? So their salaries are humongous. Clinical database designer or build expert, you have positions like that, where you design and configure ECRFs in tools like Medidata, Inform, Oracle Clinical, all of these. A BE, basically, or a BSc, or even anybody, even a BCom certified on Rave, Inform, can be part of this industry. It's great for tech savvy people, who are life science graduates, who like user interfaces, forums, and things like that. Then you have a clinical data analyst. It's a very advanced role. You do trend analysis, you do data visualization, support real-time monitoring, and you need an MSc or PhD in bioinformatics or a biostats. You need to be very strong in Power BI, Excel, and Word, and things like that. And this is basically those with coding or analytics mindset. Everybody can't do it. So then you have a project manager or a lead, and especially for a regulatory operations person, which comes in the last. You can be from any educational background, very good in PDF formatting, Word formatting, and things like that. You will definitely get a job. So I think I cleared all that, how you will get a job in the industry for all of you. I just tried to be fast because we have a time constraint here. Biomedical engineers can get into any of these roles that I spoke about, Paul. Try to look at it because I think they are a mixture of everything. I think the best I would suggest would be to go into programming, SAS programming. They pay well. I'm sure as an engineer, you have an aptitude for mathematics. You would definitely want to look into coding. Difference between CRO and CRA. I already explained. Can anybody tell me what's the difference between CRO and CRA? I did a lot of talking on that.
CRO is an organization, and the person who goes for the site inspection is the CRA.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This proves you were listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to know about regulatory affairs for a BSc Biotechnology or an MSc Biotechnology.
Okay. So like I said, become very good in PDFs. Don't think PDF is as easy as you think. So it is, you need to know how to play around with PDFs, edit them, work around them, and most importantly, Excel, Word, because you're doing a lot of formatting, job linking, you need to be an expert in it. So if you are doing, if you're an expert in that, you can get into regulatory affairs, any background.
Okay, thank you.
But you don't get any training for becoming a regulatory operations person. It's on the job. If you are Viva certified, it is very much in demand in the market, but getting Viva certified is very expensive. So regulatory operations, no institute teaches you about it. So it's something you need to master in PDF and go attend interviews saying, I want to be part of this. Keep looking out for roles. Regulatory affairs associate or regulatory operations associate.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
So, ma'am, I was asking about like I have 2 years of experience in pharmaceutical manufacturing, like in as an production officer in Sun Pharma or as an QC analyst in Cipla Limited. So there I worked for the protocol, like I used to prepare the protocol as well as some IOQ qualification documentation. And like I'm looking for transition into clinical research domain. So I just wanted to ask that which field will going to suit me, or in which field I can utilize my previous knowledge as well. So
You can get into medical writing if you've already written protocols. So you
okay.
can get some training, get yourself certified on medical writing. That would be the ideal field for you. Many people in our organization have come from pharma manufacturing background and they are doing wonders. I think that's the right field for you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. This is Rashmi this side. I have previously worked as like a data miner, like in clinical.
Can you be louder, Rashmi? I'm
Yeah,
getting
sure.
on.
Yeah. Sorry. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So I have previously. Sorry.
You are muted.
So I was saying that I have previously worked as a data miner for a organization like it was a third party basically. So we used to extract data present on the online portals, like as you mentioned, for like the registries that are present, clinical trial registries. We have to mine out data from there or from the company portal or from like the pipeline they present. So if I need to go from there, like it's on desk job basically, be only on like online work that has been processed. So how do I go from there to clinical trials or clinical
Look at
research?
which part of whatever I spoke now interests you. You can get into any of the field if you've done data mining. So look at it, get yourself certified in that area, move into that area. Medical writing or data management, get yourself certified in that area. Just keep moving because upskilling is very important. See what AI is there present in the field of interest. If any of you are really interested, please reach out to me personally also. I can guide you. Vamshi has my
I have
number.
also
Feel
done a
free.
course on prompt engineering, but I'm not sure how exactly it will help me out in it. So I have done a course in prompt engineering.
Yeah, but now can you tell me, now that you've used prompt engineering, how you can help it shape your career here?
Like for
Because
example,
prompt
if I'm
engineering will help you do that.
yeah, like I have drafted SOPs before, and like it was kind of manual work. Now I can like draft it in within few minutes.
Absolutely. Do you think
So
medical writing is a good field for you since you're
I
drafting?
yeah,
Try that
and
out.
that's why exactly I'm here. Like I'm doing a advanced diploma in clinical research and medical coding so that I could move forward with something.
So all of you are asking me a similar kind of questions. How about healthcare sector with neuroscience graduate? It is like telling me, can I put coffee powder in coffee? Can I put sugar in coffee? Can I put milk in coffee? You can put everything into coffee, right? So anybody in the life science thing can get into this industry. Whether you are a neuroscience graduate, neuroscience still belongs to life science. Anybody with a life science background can get into this field. And again, I repeat, anybody wants to talk to me in person, I'm always there. Please feel free to reach out to me. And Divya, yes, SAS field is equally important, like I already told you. Please get into it if you are interested. If you're interested in coding, you don't need to be an engineer. You just need to have that interest in coding. Learn a little bit about it. And I have a lot of people in my own organization who have done B Pharma, M Pharma in the SAS field right now.
Ma'am, I'm
Anything
having a
else?
small doubt. Can I ask? This is Shweta.
Yes, Shweta.
Ma'am, I'm having 5 years of experience in documentation, like quality assurance, as well as I used to go for this dose monitoring, BEB, NOC document review and everything. But in between, I got 5 years of career gap. I took this gap for parenting. So I just want to resume back to the work. So which field is apt for me?
You can get into probably QC. QC is you need to have somebody with very great eye for detail. When a medical writer writes a document, they need to verify it against the source. So what the QCer does is just verifies it against the source. And there are some templates that you need to follow. The client wants you to look at a few things in the document. which is what you need to look at very closely and not miss any of the findings that are wrong in that. So if that's something that interests you, Shweta, I think you should get into it.
Okay, ma'am, do there any chances for me to enter into the clinical side, ma'am, like clinical domain, as I already having this BB and OC?
Yes, you can. You understand which part of the clinical trial industry you are, interested in, and then you take it from there. And yes, most of the roles that I spoke about now are work from home, and you can work globally across anywhere of the world. And if you're not capable of or wanting due to personal situation, travel outside your home, you can work for other countries in your own house, depending on how you find the opportunities. And of course, underline how good you are in your job. SaaS has plenty of opportunities outside this country, let me tell you. People are always looking for SaaS programmers. So if that's something you want to look at, try that out. My personal contact is with Vamshi. I don't want to put it here on a public domain. Please reach out to Vamshi. Vamshi, please feel free to share out my contact details. So, Punita, please reach out to Vamshi. He will share it.
Sure, I will do that. I will also mention your mail ID. They can drop a mail. That will
Yes,
be good.
please. And I hope I've answered every single person's question here and I gave you an idea how to work in a CRO.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was the target, right, Vamshi?
Yes, ma'am. That was.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add, ma'am, that it was a very wonderful and informative session. Like I got to know, or almost every candidate got to know that where they are actually fit. So thank you so much for this information, ma'am.
My pleasure. And like I
So
keep
absolutely,
saying, feel
ma'am.
free
Very,
to
very
reach out to
grateful
me.
to
I
you.
might not be able to answer every personal question here. I will always make time to answer any of your questions personally. Reach out to me.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Definitely, I'll connect, sir, to have your contact.
Thank you, Ritu.
Thank you.
Somebody
Thank
else said
you.
something. I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah, ma'am, I was saying it was really a blessing to join this. It was
Thank you.
very informative, and sometimes when the person who is in charge, the host is so nice to explain everything in the detail with the depth, and allows the people to speak their heart and get everything clear. It was really blessing. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Saifullah.
much.
I also have a request. Next time I come to this session, Vamshi, I would request everybody to be on screen. I don't want to look at a black screen and
Sure,
talk
I
to a
will
Shweta or
request
a
the
Ritu or a
students to.
Saifullah because I don't know how they look like or what they are. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but it'll be nice to have eye connect, right? So thank
Yeah.
you.
I will do that, ma'am.
Have a
Next time I
wonderful
will
day,
try
all
to
of
do
you. I
that.
have another meeting to attend. Hope it's okay to log out, Vamshi.
Sure, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
joining.
ma'am.
Have a
Have a
great
wonderful
evening.
day, all of you. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank you,
so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, students. As ma'am requested, please try
Thank you, ma'am.
to turn on your cameras next time.
Sure, sir, sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So please share the ma'am details, ma'am.
Sure, sure. I will mention her. You can go through the LinkedIn and type her name. You will all find the her details. And it's better to connect over the LinkedIn. That's good platform for ours. Like since we are earlier professionals, we should increase our connections. Even I started my journey recently, so it's better to have more connections with the industry people who are having good experience and who are working as a senior levels. And I will share the ma'am mail ID and details over the WhatsApp.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Have a great evening,
Will,
students.
will we be having this recorded video?
Recording video, it's like 1 hour. Its session is 1 hour. You may not get the video. I think, yeah, you will not get the video. In LMS also, it's tough to get. I will try to post it in over the LMS. We'll see.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, students. Have a great evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.